Today I finally get to open my Ninja Turtles Party Wagon by Jada. I spared you the pain of watching me unscrew it from the bottom of the cardboard. And here's the box. Let's just put that aside. I have a very small Hot Wheels 164 version. I wanted a 132 scale, but I couldn't really find one, and I just settled for this Jada 124. First, let's talk about the paint. It's pretty simple. I really like the mellow yellow, this pastel, very calm yellow color with the green, very classic. They did a pretty good job. But upon opening it, I did find some scuffs here, some green scuffs that you can see. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I'm trying to focus on it. Over here you have some green scuffs, so that's not cool. Jada doesn't usually do this. They're usually pretty good with their paint and their detail. And it looks like they do have a lot of nice detail here. It's simple, yet detailed enough to be interesting. So here's the front. You have the Ninja Turtles classic angry mouth, teeth, turtles on the front. Here you have the shell, the two headlights, two lights above that, and then you have the two lights up here, and then you have their little radar thing. You have the rockets, right? And you have the rear doors, the rear lights, and so on. Next, let me talk about the plastic parts. These are plastic, and they move. They seem pretty sturdy. This is plastic. It spins around. It seems a little bit more flimsy, and these are plastic, some kind of malleable rubber. Now, these are definitely going to fall off if you're playing with it. There's only so many times you could move this back and forth before it gives. So if you have children, just be ready for that. They're going to rip this off. Next, let's talk about the wheels. So standard chrome wheels, van wheels, right? I'm not really sure what van this is modeled after. I never figured that out. It looks like it could be one of those old Volkswagen vans. Definitely not a Chevy. Chevy Nova? Bossa Nova? I know I'm ridiculous. It just popped into my head because I said Chevy. But true fans will know what I'm talking about. Bossa Nova, Chevy Nova. Anyway, I'm not really sure what this is modeled after, but you get the rubber tires, you get standard van wheels, they look pretty nice. Let's move on to moving parts. Now, I had already shown that these move up and down, so you can fire these rockets at different angles. This also moves, I showed that earlier. This moves, though it's not really meant to move, I guess it has to give a little just in case you hit it, but they could have made it metal and they could have just made it stronger and welded that in there, and you would have a nice sturdy mirror without worrying about this flapping back and forth. Alright, now obviously the doors are going to open. The larger Jada models always allow you to open the doors. So let's open both doors here. Let's look on the inside. Okay, pretty simple, but it is modeled after a cartoon vehicle. I would have liked to see some color on the dashboard, a few red buttons, a few orange buttons, something like that. The next thing that you can open is the back. I tried pulling this out initially, but you can't really get a grip. You can't really get your finger in there. So I tried pushing it, and when you push it, one of the back doors will open, and then you can open the back. Again, let's look on the inside. Good enough detail, but just as I mentioned with the front and the dashboard, I would have liked to see some color back here. Just some red buttons, some green buttons, some orange buttons. I really like when they pay attention to the detail. Let me close this. Finally, let's open the side. Now this is pretty hard to open. You first have to, there's really nothing you could do here, right? There's nothing to grab, even when you open the door. So you have to kind of stick your fingernail in there and pull this out a little bit. When you pull this out a little bit, you then pull this down. And when you pull this down, you'll be able to pull this out some more. I do have a problem here. I don't know if I have a defect or if they're all like this, but as you're opening this, the missiles get stuck. They rub up against this bottom panel here. So Jada did not measure this correctly, unless I have a defective model. So you have to do it without damaging it. Now this is a problem. I don't like this. I don't like these kinds of issues with my toys. And just to show you, okay, let me see if I could zoom in. I mean, this is tight. So if you want to put it back in, so this is as far as down as this goes. And if you want to put these back in, it doesn't really give. So you have to slowly and gently squeeze and push that in, and then you can close this, right? So let's do this one more time. You open this a little, you bring this down, and then you just slowly pull this out. Once you pull this out, this comes down. This is all plastic. This is very flimsy. This will eventually break if you play with it too much. So this is very flimsy here, and you got the bottom. And that's what that looks like. Not bad overall, but there are some issues, right? Let's open everything up. And by the way, don't try to open this side. This doesn't open. If you force this too much, you'll break it. I see a little chip here straight out of the factory. Can anyone see that? So the paint is chipped here. Okay, so this side stays closed. And one more thing, this back here is made of plastic, but it does move. So you could pull it out. You could pull it out completely, or you could raise it a little bit. It's not very smooth. It's kind of annoying to move, but if you want this rear wing or rear spoiler to be higher, you could pull it up a bit. If you want it to be lower, you could push it back down. I like to just keep it like this. And that's it. This is the Jada 124 scale Party Wagon, modeled after the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon. Pretty nice. I'm very happy with it. Despite the small issues, I finally have my Party Wagon. Here's the little diecast figure that comes with the car. It's pretty well made, a lot of detail. Jada does this well, just like my Batman figures that came with the Batmobiles. It's diecast, so it's nice and heavy, and they even gave him the D because it's Donatello. I like this a lot. I think they did a good job with this. He comes with his bow. You could remove it if you want. One thing to note though is that for some reason, his right arm is made out of plastic. It's a malleable rubber-like plastic. And his left arm is metal right up to the elbow. So this is metal, and then when you get up to the elbow, the rest of it is malleable plastic. So that's kind of weird. I wonder why they did that. I don't know. If this had been metal, it would have been better in terms of durability, less chance of his finger breaking off or his hand breaking off. But that's the figure that comes with it. Pretty cool guy. And Jada does do a good job with these.